good evening, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live with me, Mike Avery. Here in my home office, the home studio. Bet you didn't expect to see me tonight, did you? Because last week I told you I wasn't going to be here. Here I am. Larry, how you doing, buddy? Craig, thank you once again for getting Whitey onto those African animals. You're very generous. Randy, good evening. Hello, Paul, how are you? Cliff, nice to have you along with us. TJ, Autistic Outdoorsman, very cool. Tim, good evening, buddy. How are you? It was a good rainy morning. Now it's a good rainy evening, isn't it? Rained all day long. Dean, nice to have you along with us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live with me, Mike Avery, on an evening that I didn't expect I was going to be able to be here. We were supposed to be at my grandkids, my granddaughter Addison and my grandson Carter's high school graduation tonight, but the weather has put the thing on hold. They've postponed it till tomorrow night and actually brought it indoors. It was supposed to be a very cool event at the Dow Diamond in Midland at the Loon Stadium, but will be indoors tomorrow. So I am here with you tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to be along with you. Mad Jack, buddy, good evening. How are you? Mike, always a pleasure. Ed, thank you for joining us. Brian, nice to see you along with us. Brian, did you see my grandson Trent shot a nice bird last night? Bernie, it's the month of May. It may rain, it may snow, it may be 85 degrees, or it might be 32. Great video of Trent getting his bird. Yeah, thank you. Corey, good evening. How are you? Turkey Woods in the Thumb, representing Outdoor Driven, sitting next to Army veterans like myself, hoping those rascals cooperate. Corey, did you see the video and the pictures of my grandson Trent? We were able to take a nice bird last night at 6:05. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that. Uncle Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Say hi to Aunt Debbie for me. We need to get together. Bruce, good evening. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Appreciate you being along with us. Hello, Jim. In fact, I can show you. Right there is the picture of me and Trent last night with his bird. This was about 6:30 last night. And you notice the Jake decoy in there. There's a reason that Jake decoy is in that picture, because the Jake decoy played a very big role. It was the use of a Jake decoy that, in my opinion, was responsible for bringing the bird in. I'd had a close encounter with a bird last Sunday, and because I didn't have a Jake out, he didn't come in. Put the Jake decoy out, and boom. Boom, there he was. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Thank you, Lyle. And Mad Jack. Oh, cool, newborn fawn. Remember, Brian, what are you supposed to do with a newborn fawn? Of course, what you're supposed to do is pick it up and take it home, because, of course, the fawn has been abandoned. Because you see a fawn there and don't see a doe, she has been killed, or she has abandoned the animal. So it's up to us as humans to pick those fawns up and bring them home and raise them in captivity, right? That's what we're supposed to do with fawns. Brian, you know I say this in jest because I know you know better. But it's funny that a lot of people feel that way. Hello, Ross. How you doing, buddy? Jeff, why? Jeff, you will appreciate this picture right here. Isn't that cool? That's me and my grandson Trent last night. I called in a bird for him, and he was able to shoot it. His first season of turkey hunting, and now he is hooked. What ammo did he use? Boy, that's a good question. We went to Jay's and got it. It was very expensive, but I do not remember what it was. But it was one of the very high-priced turkey loads. Yeah, the thought, Randy, of hunting with your kids and grandkids is wonderful, isn't it? Stay away, don't touch. I agree. Thank you, George. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. I do appreciate. I know that you have an appreciation for hunting with family members and teaching kids, and eventually for you, Jeff, grandkids, how to hunt. I don't pretend to be an expert turkey hunter, but I'll be honest with you. I think I'm a better turkey hunter than I am a deer hunter. I feel like if there's a bird in the area, um, I'll go into it with a pretty strong expectation that I can probably get that bird. Might not be on the first sit, but I feel like I can figure it out and get it done. It may have been tungsten. It may have been. Oh, let me see if I can do something here. This might be cool. You might enjoy this. No, I don't want to do that. I want to. How do I do this now? Present. Let me see. I should have had this. Oh, I think I can. Yep, I'm going to be able to. I will bring this video up here later. Oh, in fact, it's right here. Let's take a quick look at it right now. It's 48 seconds long. Had the Jake decoy up. This Longbeard ran into our decoys because he saw the Jake. I'm telling Trent, this is your bird, this is your bird. I pan the camera. It's actually my phone to the left. I say, take your time, wait for him to put his head up. And Trent did it absolutely perfectly. He waited for the bird to get away from my very expensive decoy, so he didn't shoot my decoy. But watch this shot. He drops this bird in its tracks. That'll work. That'll work. Okay, now I got to figure out how to get rid of that. I got to change my resolution so I can see it. Settings. How am I going to get rid of that now? No, don't want to do that. There we go. Okay. Scott's watching this. He said, hey, you shot my tree. Nobody shot your tree, Scott. Well, maybe. Scott Gatza, who is watching the video right here, said, hey, you shot my tree. I didn't even notice that. Is there a tree in the background? Scott Gatza is the guy, a friend of mine, who so generously allows me access to his property occasionally. Like when I took my grandson Carter out there to get a doe, I shot a bird out there last year. Trent shot a bird out there last night. So thank you, Scott. I do certainly appreciate that. Kevin, how you doing, buddy? Thank you, and we will see you on Friday, July 25th for this event right here, the second annual Mike Avery Outdoors Charity Golf Outing. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. That's last year's event, so let me remove that. We will be there Friday, July 25th. Go to mucc.org/golf to sign up for that. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that. Nice bird, 22 pounds, 10-inch beard, 3/4-inch spurs. Dave, good evening. Another Dave. Oh, got to concentrate, which means he's got a bird coming in. Good luck to you, Corey. Martin, good evening. Hello, Terry. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Nice shot. It was indeed a nice shot. Heck yes. Thank you. Congrats to you both. It is so awesome. Hillsdale County, my pleasure. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate that. Corey, congrats. All right, my friends. Anyway, that's enough of that. So, very proud of Trent. Appreciate the access, Scott Gatza, to your beautiful piece of heaven. I think we played it just right. Sunday night we couldn't. Sunday night I called in a bird. I think it's probably that same bird. He wouldn't come into the decoys. He hung up about 75 yards away. And I'm convinced it's because I had 2 hen decoys out there. I knew that if I put a Jake out there, I could probably call him in, and that's exactly what happened last night. So it's all good. It's all good. Okay, what else is on my list? Can you believe that this weekend is Memorial Weekend already? I can't. And I think it's probably because the weather has been so crappy. It certainly doesn't feel like the unofficial kickoff of the summer season. I would ask you to keep in mind this weekend what the reason for Memorial Day and Memorial Weekend is. And it's not so we can go fishing. It's not so we can go turkey hunting. It's not so we can play golf. It's not so we can fire up the grill. The reason Memorial Weekend, Memorial Day is out there is to remember those who gave their lives protecting our country. I think there is no higher calling or commitment or sacrifice than giving up your time here. See, I didn't serve. And because of that, I feel extremely what's the term? Embarrassed. So, the weather has been crappy, but the weather forecast for this weekend, at least the last time I saw, looks a little better. And next week is looking pretty good too. I still have not been out fishing because I don't have a boat yet. Waiting on the Angler Quest. So on one hand, I'm kind of glad that the weather has been so bad because when it's like this, who wants to be on the water anyway? However, when they can get out, the fishing has been pretty good. Paul says he's thinking about going to the golf outing. Love to see you there, Paul. Thank you, my friend Ross Elliott. That was a beautiful bird. Trent made a great shot, dropped it in its tracks. Hey, Brent, how are you, buddy? Earlier, Brent was saying that he wants to get one of those limited edition Mike Avery Outdoors signature knives from Rapid River. David, good evening. How are you? I was talking with Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives yesterday, and I think we've got this thing getting pretty well dialed in. He's going to make a prototype to see what it looks like. I'm looking for a very specific color on the handle of the knife. It'll be a Uper pocket clip knife. It'll be an acrylic red, but a very vibrant, rich red on a maple burl handle. And here's the cool part about it. You can't pre-order the knives yet. The cool thing about it is part of the proceeds, much of the proceeds from this knife are going to go to a group, and I'm not prepared to name it yet because in my mind I know who it is. I've done the research behind the scenes, but I haven't officially told those guys what's going to happen. So Corey, don't say anything. Part of the proceeds, and I'm not going to make a dime on this knife, and Chris Durson of Rapid River is going to make much of it either. A group that gets veterans and first responders in the outdoors as part of their reward and as part of their therapy. Really looking forward to this. It's not going to be a cheap knife. It's probably going to be a $225 knife. But I think for what we're doing with it, and I think for the knife that you're going to get, and it's going to be a limited run of knives, I think it's worth it. Chris Durson also said to me, he says, Mike, keep your mind open to this. A series of Mike Avery signature knives. So, Chris, I'm keeping my mind open to that. The wind has been out of the northeast for a week. David, I feel like the wind has been out of the northeast for most of the springtime. We were at a softball game in Bay City on Monday. That northeast wind made it so cold and so miserable that we sat in the outfield with our winter coats on. I had a hoodie, a winter coat, gloves buried in my hood. It was just miserable. James, how are things in the eastern UP? Does it feel like springtime or does it feel like March? What else is going on? Greg stopped in Minnesota, headed to Clark Fork, Idaho for my spring bear hunt. Greg, have fun. I absolutely love bear hunting. I need to remember to apply for my Michigan bear tag, although I'm only putting in for a point. Patrick, I hear they're looking to hire professional sharpshooters in Iron Mountain to eliminate overpopulation of deer in the city limits. I have not heard that yet, Patrick. I think that would be a mistake. I mean, if Iron Mountain has too many deer, and I can't imagine many places in the UP having too many deer, if they've got too many deer, why not open up a limited hunting season to archers only? If you've got too many deer, let people come in and hunt them. Now, I realize you can't let the average rifle hunter come into the city limits, certainly not downstate, even in Iron Mountain. But I bet you they could work out some kind of a limited archery hunt. Why not? It was cold. Good point. Thank you. Paul says, not that it matters to me, but will the Avery 15 code apply for the limited edition Mike Avery Outdoor signature knife? It will not. And Chris and I talked about this, and here's the reason. If we were to apply that Avery 15 code, which gives you 15% off the order, that would basically wipe out our profit margin. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but the reason we're doing this is to raise money for a specific charity. If we offered the discount on this, that would cut into our amount of money that we were able to give to the charity. So thank you, Paul, for clarifying that. Any other Rapid River knife, you can use the promo code Avery15, Avery15, and get 15% off the order. We are not going to do it with the Mike Avery signature knife. Now, the timetable on this knife, Chris is waiting for a couple of things from me. He's waiting for a logo and a copy of my signature, which was supposed to get to him today. I will get to him tomorrow. And then they're going to get a prototype to me. And as soon as we have a prototype, I suspect we're going to open it up for pre-orders. Timetable for that, I do not know, as quickly as possible. Lyle, back in the day when I went to baseball and softball games in Harbor Beach area, normal to wear winter clothing. I believe it. James says it's actually much nicer down there. Some same temps, but blue sky and sunshine. Much nicer than down there. Excellent. Thank you, Judy. Says, hey, Mike, beautiful turkey you guys took. They certainly teach us patience. Birds teach us humility and patience and perseverance. And as you can see from the smile right there on Trent's face, once he shot that bird last night, he says, hey, he said, I don't smile very often, but I can't keep the smile off my face right now. That picture right there, that smile on his face, is all I ever need to keep me involved in the outdoors and to do as much as I can to encourage people to continue this outdoor tradition. That smile right there. Okay, Jason said an interesting point. The wolves chased them into the city. Now, Jason, I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if you mean that as a joke or not, but it would make sense. Ed says, northeast winds last week we were fishing. It was very rough with lots of 3-footers. Honestly, if there are 3-footers out there, I don't want to be there. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to block this user who claims to be Elon Musk. We'll let the little time thing spin here, and he was indeed blocked. Yeah, we don't need the spam, we don't need the crap, we don't need the idiots on here. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate that very much. Dan is saying congrats to Trent. Yeah, not anymore. He's gone. Dave, good evening. Oh, it is true. Patrick says the article is in the Iron Mountain Daily News. Okay, so it's true. All right. Isn't that interesting that the wolves have forced the deer in Iron Mountain into the city of Iron Mountain, and now, according to you folks tonight, they're thinking about bringing in sharpshooters to thin out that population. Isn't that interesting? Wow. There are so many different aspects to that story, I don't know where to start. Except that now I'd like to see him do a limited archery hunt instead of sharpshooters. I'm looking at Scott Gatz's comment about, hey, you shot my tree. I got to go back and look at this video. I got to, if I can get to it. Here we go. I got to change my resolution so I can shrink the screen down on my end. Okay, so I should be able to get to it now. Because I want to see what tree. Oh, it's not. I can't see the. I'll check it out later. Ross Elliott got my info back on my Canadian black bear. Oh, I took him too serious. He's saying, hey, you took me too serious. Because now I'm getting nervous. I'm thinking, okay, did he have an apple tree or something planted right there in a cage that I didn't notice because there was a bird in front of it and Trent blasted that tree? Now he's saying, hey, you took me too serious. So I won't worry about it. Ross Elliott, my good friend, got my info back on my Canadian blackberry. He was 5 years old. Excellent, Ross. Nice job. I remember one big sow that I shot in White River. She was 16 years old. In fact, it's this bear right here. I don't know if you can see her. It's going to be kind of dark. That bear right there. She was 16 years old. That's an old bear. It's a big old sow. 5-year-old bear. Congrats, Ross. Where are we? Let me find where we're at. Headed for a bear hunt down there. Wolves. Ross. Matt at Rapid River just donated a $100 gift card to your Veterans Fishing event for the raffle. Great people at RRK, Rapid River Knives. You will not find better people than Chris Durson and the crew at Rapid River. And when it comes to supporting charities, especially veterans-related charities, they are all in. When I told Chris what I wanted to do, he said, yeah, I'm interested. When I told him what the recipient group was that I wanted, he said, absolutely, let's make it happen. Ralph, good evening, buddy. How are you? Thin out the deer or thin out the wolves? Well, good question, Rick. We certainly need to thin out the wolf population, but that's not going to happen legally. So I was talking about thinning out the deer population. Randy, have you heard any more on the rod quota that you're trying to get passed? No. What's going on is that the bill that included that is now like a secondary bill, because the people who proposed that were looking strictly at the fishing related side of things, and they were looking at the fisheries department. Now, MUCC is not a fan of that, is not a favor of that. They say if we're going to do it, let's not do it piecemeal, and let's take a look at the hunting side of things too. Now, interestingly, the folks from the Great Lakes Salmon Initiative and others who have been pushing for this said, we do not want to pair our bill with the hunting bills because we're afraid they won't pass. They said, we feel, and I agree with them, that in general, most Michiganders are in support of the fisheries department and the fisheries program in Michigan, and a significant percentage of Michigan hunters, in particular deer hunters, do not support the wildlife division and the deer management side of things. So this is going to be very interesting. So Randy, to answer your question, I don't know where things are at right now. Mike Critchfield says, James, where is your fishing event? Because Mike, Mike, let me send a text off to Scott right now, not Scott Katz, the other Scott. By the way, do you have an answer on that question for Walleye for Warriors? We'll see if he gets back to me. Will the Wolves follow them into the city? Absolutely they will. Absolutely they will. Yes. Jerry, good evening, Cap. Great turkey hunt. It was a wonderful turkey hunt. Thank you for that, Jerry. Appreciate that. Michael, good evening. How are you? Jim, Captain Jim Robleski says, good evening, Cap. Just saw the video of the hunt. It was awesome. It was awesome. And you know what's one thing that was cool about that hunt as well? The video that I posted there, I actually shot it on my phone, my iPhone, which is my camera for tonight. The quality isn't as good as it could be because I cropped it. I shot it originally. I look like I'm genuflecting here. I shot it originally in a vertical format so I could post it, but I liked the looks of it better in horizontal, so I zoomed into it, and that degraded some of the quality. But it's still not bad, is it? For shooting it on a phone. Ross says his oldest bear was 9 years old. Very cool, Ross. Paul, when you go to White River, are accommodations included in the hunt? No, nothing is included in the hunt with Ron St. Louis. The only thing that is included is your hunt. That's it. Your meals and accommodation are extra and they are separate. So keep that in mind, which makes me think if I am going to go back up there and hunt with Ron this August, I should have booked a room already, and I did not. Bill Lincoln, good evening. Bill is the guy, just a reminder, who suggested that we have a golf outing last year. He can't join us this year because he's going to be in, I think, White River fishing, or at least up north fishing, Ontario fishing. Good evening, Tim. How are you? Rick makes a good point. Bernie, they have to follow the food source. Meaning, will the wolves follow the deer into Iron Mountain? Johnny Bowler, the bear whisperer. How you doing, Johnny? Sounds to me like Johnny's off this week, so he's probably drinking beer and just relaxing. Good for you. You've earned it. Rob says, Ross, you must have had a good guide. James, it's in St. Joe. James lives in St. Joe. He says, I live down the road in the lower, but have a camp up north. Just got back from there today. The event is called Trolling with the Troops. We have a website. We bring in 150 vets every year for a free salmon charter. Is that still open, James? Is that still open? Because Walleye for Warriors is the 8th, and that is locked down tight. That is all filled up. You are more than welcome, Mike. And the Walleye for Warriors event, the Walleye for Warriors event was started by a guy named Nels Larson, who is no longer with us. Nels started that event after fishing in the Tight Lines for Troops event in Manistee. Johnny Bowler says he picked 71 morels today. It took 5 beers to do it, but he found 71 morels. Is that not life in the UP right there? Okay, let me tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. My first guest is Captain Jason Graham. Jason is a charter captain out of the Linwood Beach Marina. He is Jason Graham of Send It Charters. We talked about not letting yourselves get into a rut when you're fishing or actually doing anything in life in general. I find myself doing that all the time. Whatever worked yesterday, I will use today. Wherever I got fish yesterday, I will go back there today. I am a creature of habit. Sometimes it works for me. Sometimes it kicks me in the rear end. And he also talks about trolling forward-weighted steel line. And he has some other great suggestions. Then Dan Cook from the Michigan Wildlife Council with an update on their Here for Generations campaign. In the second hour, John Dirtka joins me. John is the guy who I credit with single-handedly changing the way that spearfishing is allowed here in Michigan. Underwater spearfishing. And this is not diving with the tank. This is free diving. It means you take a breath, dive below the surface with fins and a mask and a spear gun, and you go after them. I mean, this is pretty serious. These guys are athletes. Anyway, John is the guy who single-handedly pushed that through MUCC, the DNR, and the NRC. So he talks about that sport and a recent Northern Lake Huron lake trout fishing adventure where they went spearfishing and got a few fish. And don't worry about the spear fishermen taking the fish away from the trollers or the casters, the shore fishermen or the bank fishermen. There aren't enough of them because the sport is too hard. Most people, myself included, will not get into it. And they do not have a biological impact. Then Steve Wyndham of MUCC talks about the upcoming Mike Avery Outdoors charity golf outing. And I thought that I was bringing up the correct flyer, but I did not. It is Friday, July 25th at the West Branch Country Club in beautiful West Branch in beautiful Ogemaw County. We are filling up nicely. We will fill this year with what? The full field of, 144? We still have room for you. If you want to join us, go to mucc.org/golf. The money will be used to support MUCC's youth camp. How cool is that? And in hour number 3, Sir Lancelot joins me. You might know him as Lance Valentine of the Walleye Zone. And then we wrap it all up with Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Okay, Joe, congrats on the bird. Memories that'll last forever. Amen, they will. Our date is June 20th. Check the website for availability. Gotcha. Some good eating right there with the 71 morels for sure. We're trying to, boom. Yes, Uncle Johnny, for sure. Paul, he was the one at the convention. He certainly was. Randy, what is the name of the fishing charter in Au Gres that follows your radio show? That would be Help me out, Craig Plowman. What's the name of his charter? Help me out, Craig. I got a mental block. Thank you, Brian. Congrats. I wouldn't be able to hold my breath that long for anything. Thank you, Ruben. Patrick, they took 82 deer in the city last year on archery. The city council said they recognize they still have a problem, so they have opened it up to archery hunting. They took 82 deer out of there, and that wasn't enough. Wow. Thank you, Craig. Express Fishing Charters. Express Fishing Charters, LLC. That's Doug Ward, who is a friend of the show and a friend of mine and a very close friend of Craig Plowman's. Craig has fished with Doug Ward of Express Charters, and he has nothing but good things to say about him. I have never fished with Doug, but the people I know who have fished with him are the same way. They say nothing but good things to say about him. First class operation. My daughter Shelby sending pictures of my newest grandson, Bodie, who now has learned to crawl, and all the kid wants to do is crawl and hold himself up on things. He is so close now to walking, it's not even funny. Scott just killed his turkey 20 minutes ago. These last 2 days have been good for killing turkeys. Congrats, Scott. Let's see it. He used to own an Angler Quest. Doug Ward used to fish with an Angler Quest. Now he has a big, I don't even know what the name of it is, but it's a real big, heavy water boat with an enclosed cabin. A very nice boat. Brian, fawns are dropping. Stumbled on one yesterday. Took a pic and exited the area. Stumbled on one Monday. Brian, now remember, Brian, and I'm saying this in jest, everybody, okay? Remember, Brian, if you find a fawn in the wild by itself just laying there, it has been abandoned. The doe has abandoned that fawn. So what you must do is pick it up and take it home and raise it as a pet. And again, I say that in jest because that's exactly the opposite of what you should do, Brian. You did exactly the right thing. When you see a fawn, don't pick it up. And I'll go further and say, even if you did, in the rare situation, come across a fawn that indeed has been abandoned, and it doesn't happen very often. Number one, it's illegal to pick one up. And number two, is it morally or ethically correct to pick up that fawn, take it out of the wild, and try to rehabilitate it and raise it as a pet? No, I don't think it's the right thing to do. Craig says it's a 28-foot kingfisher. So look up a 28-foot kingfisher, and that is Doug Ward's boat. Johnny, what's the LOL on the fawns? Jason said, don't worry, if you post a fawn picture keyboard, DNR will remind you. Really? Have you had a situation, Jason, where you have been a part of or seen a picture where the DNR has come in and made a comment? I, in particular, never have unless I tag the DNR looking for their input. Ron St. Louis, good evening. Ron, how are you? Ron is the guy I was talking about who runs Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters in White River, Ontario, Canada. And Ron, I was just saying I need to get with you and see if I'm coming up this August or not. And if I do, I need to book a room at the Continental. So let me figure those plans out and get moving on that. And I'll tell you, friends, if you are looking for a quality Ontario bear hunt, and you're wondering, okay, I'm nervous. I've never done this before. I will personally and highly vouch for Ron St. Louis and all the crew there at White River. They are wonderful people. They are friendly people. The odds of you seeing a bear are extremely high. The odds of you getting a shot opportunity are extremely high. So take a good look at Ron St. Louis, and maybe I will be up there this August. I haven't been up there in a couple of years. It's time to go back. Mike Sills, Michigan Outdoorsman. Good evening, buddy. How are you? Johnny's laughing about picking up the fawns. You know, Rick, I checked on this. This is actually kind of an outdoor myth. I posed this specific question to Chad Stewart, who is the big game specialist for the DNR, last week on the show. And I said, Chad, I have heard that if a fawn is abandoned, another doe, in particular probably a doe of the same family, will take the abandoned fawn on as their own. And Chad Stewart said that is extremely rare. He said in the wild it almost never happens. He said if you have a situation where a deer is in an enclosure or something, possibly. But he actually shot me down because I was thinking the same thing, Rick. He said that very, very rarely happens in the wild. James says, FYI, sunset on the east side of the bay is shallow, 3 sandbars. Johnny said, we did that with the bear cubs. Just kidding. Picked them up. Yeah, just kidding. Keyboard DNR. Thank you, Jason. Now I understand. Thank you. Yes. You're saying the keyboard warrior is not the real DNR. That makes more sense to me. Thank you for that clarification. I get that completely. And yes, it is crazy that people have to be told that. But never overestimate the intelligence of people sometimes. Yes, he clarified that and I finally got it through. Ron, busy, doing real good. Yes, your spot is still available. I do have you in the books. Okay. All right, Ron, thank you for that. I just want to verify that on this end, and then I will call the Continental. Captain Dave Engel won our South Haven tournament. Not a surprise. John, I was told if they are in the way to lightly touch them with a stick or something, but never touch them because you will get your smell on them, and the mother may be done with them after that. I've heard that too. I don't know how much truth I put in that. And what do you mean by in the way, John? Here's the situation I posed last week, and this is the only situation where I can see even potentially thinking about picking up a fawn, and that is, say, when I was a kid growing up on the farm, you'd run a hay bind or a hay mower through a field, and from the tractor you could occasionally see a fawn curled up laying there. Obviously, that is a case where it makes sense to pick the fawn up and get it out of the way so you don't run over it. Is that what you're talking about, John? Other than that, man, where would it be in the way? I guess if a doe drops a fawn in your garden or something, a young doe does. Yeah, I can see that. Real respect, Captain Darren. Good evening, Cap. How are you? Success with your grandson's turkey hunt was very great to see. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for acknowledging that, Darren. Any experience with pheasant back mushrooms? Never even heard of them, Joe. Pheasant back mushrooms. Never even heard of them, so I have no thoughts. The next NRC Commission meeting I know is in Bay City. I don't know what's on the agenda, and I don't know what the date of it is, but I know it's in Bay City. Yes, a farm field or something like that. Yes. Jason said, okay, if they drop in the middle of a 2-track, yeah, you don't run over them. Okay, yes, those are all situations where I can see it would make sense. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so what else? Next week, Wednesday night, live, Amy Trotter, MUCC Executive Director, joins me for a Q&A. I know you love these. I know you love Amy. She was actually supposed to be on with me last week. I forgot. She forgot. So we have rescheduled her for next week. So next week, 7 o'clock, Wednesday Night Live, MUCC Executive Director Amy Trotter will be joining me to answer your questions and mine. So be thinking about what you want to ask her. Okay. Gosh, I wish I would have grabbed the right golf outing. Larry at Rabbit Homesteading says he loves pheasant back mushrooms. Dryad saddle mushrooms. See, I've never heard of either one of those, Larry. One more time, let me see if I can find the correct because I'd really like to show the file. Is that the right one? No, that's the wrong one again. Okay. So anyway, it's Friday, July 25th at the West Branch Country Club. It's time to sign up. Very good evening. How are you? It's on the MUCC website, mucc.org. Next week will be a great Wednesday Night Live because Amy always does a wonderful job. Okay, let me show you one more time why I'm just so damn proud tonight. This is the bird that my grandson Trent got last night. He shot it at 6:05 at my buddy Scott Gatz's house. Not at his house, in the property behind the house. That Jake decoy that is in the lower right corner of that picture was key. It was instrumental in making it happen. In my mind, I am absolutely convinced that it was the Jake decoy that caused that longbeard to come running into our deeks. 2 days previously, I called in what I assume was the same bird in the same food plot. And actually, if you look at that picture right there, if you see the plowed area over our heads and to the right, actually our left, your right, that bird came into that plowed up area and he gobbled and he strutted, but he wouldn't come in. I'm convinced he didn't come in because there was no reason to, because I had the 2 hen decoys. So yesterday, I took one of the hens down, I put that Jake decoy up, and this bird could not resist. He came running into our spread, gave us a really nice shot at 25 yards, and Trent dropped him in his tracks. The cool thing about this is, it was a hunt with my grandson. I was teaching some of the things I know about turkey hunting to Trent because he's never turkey hunted before. He's a hardcore deer hunter, but he's never turkey hunted before. And that's the very first bird that he ever killed. He killed it on camera with me in the blind with him. It doesn't get any better than that. And Bernie says, no trees were harmed in the making of this film. Oh, I just couldn't be happier. Talk about keeping the tradition alive. Ooh, Scott got his with a 410 pistol. Ooh, Scott, you're hardcore. That is very cool. I got to hear more about that. Very, very cool. Congrats, Scott. Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy, linwoodtaxidermy.com, linwoodtaxidermy.com. So what else is going on? You know what? I don't think anything else is going on, which means this right here. No, it doesn't mean that. It means this. Nope, doesn't mean that. Oh, where's my other song? Why can I not? There we go. That's the one I want. That's the song that takes us out of every Wednesday Night Live. So next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, MUCC Executive Director Amy Trotter will be joining me. It means she's joining you. She will be here to answer your questions. My name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. My website is mikeaveryoutdoors.com. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for all your well wishes on Trent's bird. Thank you, Scott Gatza. And thank you for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a good night.